to send a message. Where's my arrow for that?
You just type your message in there. And then just press your return button. Yeah, go on. No, do it again. Oh. Oh. So, yeah, press the end. Yeah. We're ready now.
Welcome to the full council meeting for Spennymoor Town Council on Tuesday, 22nd of September. Can I welcome everybody to this meeting, and can I also say I hope you will bear with me on what is my first attempt at the Zoom meeting from a council chamber. So thank you. Can I, for the moment, say we are to discuss the election of Town Mayor for Spennymoor Town Council, and if I could hand over to our Town Clerk, Mrs. Catherine Herons, to take the proceedings for this item. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. So the first item on the agenda, as has been pointed out by Councillor Maddison, is the election of the Town Mayor for the ensuing year. So please, could we have any nominations for Town Mayor?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Councillor Liz Maddison.
I'd like to second Councillor Liz Maddison.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations?
Chair, may I say something?
You can, Councillor Thompson.
Chair, fellow councillors, I'd like to nominate Councillor Liz Maddison as Spennymoor's next mayor. Liz is currently our deputy mayor, and during a difficult time because of COVID-19 has worked hand in hand with Mayor Councillor Elizabeth Wood to make Councillor Wood's term office a success. Custom and practice has always been that the deputy mayor is elected mayor the following year. 2 years ago, Liz was consort to Councillor Clive Maddison when he was mayor. Together, they worked exceptionally hard for the people of Spennymoor and their nominated charity. Liz deserves this opportunity to be mayor. She has been a town councillor for 18 years, longer than any current town councillor. As well as representing Spennymoor initially as a Sedgefield Borough councillor and now as a county councillor, Councillor Maddison is an extremely hard-working and diligent. I nominate Councillor Liz Maddison to be mayor for the balance of the ensuing year.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. As there have been no other nominations, I would like to ask Councillor Maddison if you'd like to accept the role of Town Mayor.
I would like to thank councillors for supporting me in the role of mayor. I would like to accept the nomination that's been given, but I also would like to say a few words with regard to that. I would like to thank Councillor Thompson and Councillor Mrs. Wood for their support in nominating me for the position of Mayor of Spennymoor, a position which is a great honour and one that I feel proud to accept their nomination. Having been the longest serving town councillor for what is my 18th year, elected in 2003, and being consort to my husband, Councillor Clive Maddison, as mayor in 2019-20 and 18-19, and deputy mayor to Councillor Mrs. Wood in 2019-20, I have gained a wealth of experience in mayoral and ceremonial duties and would like to follow the proud tradition of previous mayors in representing our township. The COVID situation will bring many challenges for County Durham, but with the strength and commitment of our local community, local members and councils, we will survive and our community will become stronger. No one would have said 18 years ago that information is now at our fingertips 24/7 with social media postings, and that we now see a new form of communication in the form of Zoom and team meetings that makes information on what local councils are doing more readily available from our home computers. Ordinarily, an election of mayor occurs annually at a meeting in May, but due to COVID, this did not happen, and Councillor Wood continued until she resigned on 28th of August 2020. I would like to thank Councillor Mrs. Wood for her commitment as mayor during very difficult times and for her friendship as we work together representing our town. Thank you, Elizabeth, for being a good ambassador for Spennymoor. It would be remiss of me not to mention Councillor Mr. Jeff O'Hare, who has recently resigned as a town councillor. I have known Councillor O'Hare for many years, first as internal auditor for Spennymoor Town Council and latterly as a councillor and former mayor. Thank you, Jeff, for your contribution to the town, and I hope that you have a long and happy retirement and away from council duties. In accepting this nomination, I have tonight offered my resignation to the town clerk as deputy mayor with immediate effect. This in turn will give opportunity for other members to take on this position, even, well, as I am now elected. Can I ask the town clerk to make arrangements for an appointment of a deputy mayor and for nominations to come forward for that position? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Maddison. Yes, the first item on the agenda for the next full council meeting will be for nominations and for a vote for a new deputy mayor. Thank you. The mayor will now read out and sign the declaration.
Having been elected, I, Councillor Elizabeth Maddison, known as Liz Maddison, having been elected to the office of Town Mayor, hereby declare that I take that office upon myself and will duty and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as to the conduct which is expected of members of Spennymoor Town Council, dated 22nd of September 2020.
We can proceed with the meeting now.
Could I have apologies, please, Town Clerk?
We have apologies from Councillors Gardner, Geldard, Grayson, Harmer and Smith.
Declarations of interest.
Do you want me to explain your declaration?
Fine.
Do you want me to explain your declaration?
Yes.
I have received one declaration of interest from Councillor Mrs Maddison, and as per standing orders, the nature of the disclosable pecuniary interest is that Councillor Mrs Maddison is a Durham County Councillor and as such receives allowances from them. She seeks a dispensation to participate at the meeting and she wishes to discuss and vote on the motion on the meeting. This Dispensation is only requested for this meeting on the 22nd of September 2020. And as I've explained, the dispensation is sought so that she can fully represent her constituents in any discussion on the motion.
And the motion on notice is item number 9.
We will now go to a vote to see if members are willing to give a dispensation to Councillor Maddison as outlined.
Councillor Gemma Abley, would you like to give your vote on that item, please?
Yeah, I'm happy for you to go ahead.
Councillor Neil Foster,
Agreed.
Councillor Ron Hiley,
Agreed. Agreed.
Councillor Ian Machin,
Agreed.
Councillor Judith Machin,
Agreed.
Councillor Clive Maddison,
Agreed.
Councillor Billy McAloon,
Agreed.
Councillor Pete Malloy,
Agreed.
Councillor Dean Ranyard,
Agreed.
Councillor Kathy Thompson,
Agreed.
Councillor Kevin Thompson,
Agree.
Councillor Lisa Thompson,
Agree.
Councillor Elizabeth Wood.
Agreed.
A unanimous decision. Thank you very much. Councillor Maddison is given a dispensation. Does anybody else wish to declare any interests?
Interest.
Are you,
Chair,
seek-
I will also declare an interest.
are you seeking a dispensation, Councillor Thompson?
Yes, I will, please.
Right, we'll need a second vote. I believe that it's exactly the same circumstances as Councillor Thompson is also a DCC councillor, so has the same pecuniary interest and would like to speak and vote on the motion as outlined. So we'll move to a vote.
Councillor Gemma Abley,
Yes, agreed.
Councillor Neil Foster,
Agreed.
Councillor Ron Hiley.
Sorry. Agreed.
Councillor Ian Machin,
Agreed.
Councillor Judith Machin,
Agreed.
Councillor Clive Maddison,
Agreed.
Councillor Billy McAloon, Councillor Billy McAloon,
Agreed, Liz.
Councillor Pete Malloy, can you take your microphone off so you can speak, Councillor Malloy?
Agreed.
Councillor Dean Ranyard,
Agreed.
Councillor Kathy Thompson,
Agreed.
Councillor Lisa Thompson,
Agreed.
Councillor Elizabeth Wood,
Agreed.
and myself as Mayor, I also agree.
Thank you very much for that. A dispensation is granted.
Can I now ask the clerk to advise if there are any public questions?
There are no public questions for this evening.
And if we can move on to item 6, which is planning. There are 2 items on the planning applications received. One is for the Fox and Hounds Kirk Merrington. The member for Spennymoor Town Council is not able to access Zoom meetings and is not present at today's virtual meeting to provide input. Kirk Merrington comes within the electoral division of Ferry Hill, whose county councillors would normally consider this application, and I would like to ask if there are any members from the town council who would like to raise any issues, and any issues raised, I would ask the town clerk to please convey those to the county council in respect of our local member. Thank you. The second application is for...
I think you'll find I've put a request in to speak.
Right, sorry, Councillor Foster, I do apologise.
No, no problem. And congratulations, Bear, on your election. It is actually on the Fox and Hounds application. You're perfectly right. It is in with the Furry Hill division for the county council. And I do know that a number of local residents have raised concerns with some of the local county councillors about the situation up there. The difficulty is I don't believe there are any planning grounds to challenge it. It's unfortunate that yet another building, which has a long history, has since been of community use and will be turned into a residential use. I suppose on the positive side, it's better that it's put to some use rather than allowed to decay. But it is just unfortunate that that is yet another iconic building in the town that's going to be lost to the community. And I know there are a number of people from that area that are most concerned about this, but I don't think there are any planning grounds to object.
Councillor Foster, can I ask if you wish to make some representation to the county council in respect of this application?
No, as I thought I'd made clear, I don't believe there are any planning grounds for objecting.
Okay, thank you. And I have Councillor Pete Malloy who wishes to speak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations on your appointments. I was just wondering whether there's been any concerns come from the residents of Kirk Merrington, because as you're probably aware, there's already been some erection of dwellings on the old car park at the Fox and Hounds, and just wondering whether there's adequate space, if any of the local residents have raised concerns in that regard.
Town Clerk, have you heard any information?
The Town Council hasn't received anything, and residents do have the opportunity to put their concerns on the planning portal or to write to DCC.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Malloy. The second application is for Spennymoor Electrical Substation. Members should note also that whilst electricity services will be provided to the township of Spennymoor, planning permission for this application would fall within the Coxo and Croxdale and Head County Council divisions. Are there any members who would like to make representation in regard to the planning application? Thank you. I have nobody indicating that they wish to comment, so if that's okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is item 7, which is the minutes. And this is to confirm as a correct record the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the Town Council held on Tuesday, 25th of August, 2020. Could I have...
Chair, I move the minutes.
And do we have a seconder?
I'll second them.
Item 8, committee minutes. To receive and approve as a correct record the minutes of the meetings of the undermentioned standard committees of the Council. Policy and Resources Committee dated 1st of September 2020. Can I have somebody to move those minutes as a correct record, please?
Yeah, you can speak.
Madam Mayor, congratulations. I would move the minutes as a true and correct record.
Thank you. And
Chair,
can
I will second them.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Facilities and Recreation Committee dated 8th of September 2020. Can I have
Chair,
somebody?
Chair will move them as an accurate and correct record.
And can I have a seconder for these minutes, please?
I'll second those.
Thank you. And can I now move on to the motion on notice? And this is from Councillor Dean Ranyard. And can I ask Councillor Ranyard to please read out the motion that he's presenting to the council?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Firstly, can I congratulate you on your appointment to the role of Mayor. I wish you every success and best wishes for the remainder of the civic year. And can I also pay tribute to the outgoing Mayor, Councillor Wood, thank her for her service to the town. She's done a sterling job under difficult circumstances. And can I also just mention Councillor Jeff O'Hare. Sad to see that he's resigned from the town council, and I wish him all the very best for the future. As far as the motion goes, there's a real disparity in the amount residents across County Durham pay in council tax, depending on where they live. Residents in Band D properties throughout Spennymoor are paying just under £220 per year more council tax than those living in unparished areas of the county. Middleston Moor, the area which I represent on this council, is literally only a few minutes walk from Binchester Village. A Middleston Moor resident in a Band A property is paying nearly £220 per year more in council tax than a Band D resident in Binchester, which is just along the road. Unparished areas such as Cowden, Crook and Consett receive many services from the county council, which our residents pay towards the cost of. At the same time, our residents pay the town council for many similar services. Of course, there are many benefits to an area for having a town or parish council. I'm not suggesting that town or parish councils are not needed. They bring democracy closer to the community, can act as a significant voice for local people, and in some cases give additionality in services. I believe that the current situation is unfair across County Durham, and I believe something should be done to address the disparity, which should ultimately result in some form of levelling up between the parished and unparished areas, by which an acknowledgement would be made that unparished areas are receiving more from the county council. This levelling up could be with a balancing payment being made by Durham County Council to this town council and other town and parish councils that would ultimately allow us to ask less from our residents. Indeed, when the Unitary Authority was created, an initial payment was made to town and parish councils in recognition of this unfairness. However, no further payments are being received, and Spennymoor is therefore subsidising other areas of County Durham. I therefore ask Council to support this motion so we can seek greater value for money for the residents we represent, many of whom will be finding council tax bills burdensome, particularly during these current times of uncertainty. And the motion that I would like to present is as follows: that this council applauds the close working relationship between Durham County Council and town and parish councils across County Durham. In recognising this relationship, this council also notes that not all of County Durham is parished. Residents in the Spennymoor Town Council area pay council tax to Durham County Council for services in unparished areas, which they also pay to this council. This situation is often referred to as double taxation. This situation goes against the principles of natural justice and fair taxation. This council therefore calls on Durham County Council to bring forward a report with a view to identifying the services and their associated total costs that residents would receive from the County Council if the area were unparished, while also exploring all solutions to the imbalance taxpayers of parished and unparished areas face, along with details of any financial implications. Thank you.
Can I ask if you've got a seconder for that motion, Councillor Ranyard?
I'll second the motion, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hiley. I have got a request to speak from Councillor Kevin or Councillor Kathy Thompson.
Chair, it's me. I'd like to move an amendment to the proposed motion, and I'd like it to be named and recorded vote. Chair, we approach another election, and once again, the topic of double taxation appears on the agenda. I have no problem with asking DCC to review what is referred to as double taxation. In fact, I support it. After all, in my time as a councillor, I have done so before. However, I would like to go a little further with my amendment. My amendment refers to the local council tax reduction scheme. Chair, in 2012, the Conservative Liberal Democrat coalition introduced the Local Government Finance Act, which was implemented on April 1st, 2013. This act abolished national council tax benefit and brought forward the local council tax reduction scheme. The local council tax reduction scheme became a discount against the council tax charge rather than a benefit, and it only applies to working age claimants. In bringing in the scheme, the coalition government reduced the money they supplied for council tax benefits by 10% and said it was up to the individual local council whether they found the lost money in other ways, or just pass the reduced benefit on to claimants. Durham County Council did not pass the reduced entitlement on to claimants. At the time of the introduction, 326 councils were involved in the initial scheme. By 2017-18, only 49 councils still carried on with the original scheme, with the rest having cut in some form the amount paid to claimants. Durham is now the only one in the northeast that operates in the original scheme. Chair, when the scheme was introduced, the government gave county councils a grant to try and help town and parish councils who are having to contribute through a reduced council tax base. In Spennymoor's case, 1,100 Band D properties. Over time, this grant has reduced, and because of the increase in house builds in Spennymoor, we are the only major town council not receiving a grant. The reduced tax base has cost this council £240,000 this year and £240,000 last year. My amendment is quite simple, Chair. My amendment is to add to the sentence starting, while also exploring all solutions in the imbalance of taxpayers and unparished areas, the words, including the local council tax reduction scheme, be added. Thank you, Chair, and I'd like to reserve my right to come back later if I need. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Do you have a seconder for that motion, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you. I haven't got any further requests for anyone to speak. Is that the case?
No, you just need to talk.
Madam Mayor, can I go back to this? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Councillor Madison.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Mayor, I'm going back to this, this motion that's been put forward. This motion, when I was in the Liberal Democrats, I put this motion forward on an election paper almost 20 years ago. And then I saw how it would affect us. It's okay, Councillor Ranyard speaking about places like Binchester, Coundon. They've got nothing. We have a marvellous town. Okay, we're getting double taxation. We did double taxation. I think Councillor Ranyard probably was involved with 3 of the efforts when we put flowers on the bush shelters. We cleared the school gates. We had a dog warden. This is double taxation. This motion's been brought about in a lot of different councils, but a lot of these different councils don't have anything. Spennymoor Town Council's been very successful. We own 20% of a crematorium, which would be worth 5 million. 20%. We also get over 100,000 a year off the crematorium committee, and we have a marvellous town hall, a marvellous park, and this double taxation, I don't want to see us losing all these, which is quite a possibility on just a political thing, which I myself tried to get this in 20 years ago and we couldn't. Durham County Council need this. I mean, people haven't had any rates. All the bans were due to go 10, 15 years ago. They've all been kept the same. If they went up, we would be in real trouble. But to be quite honest, I don't think I want to get involved. I would rather keep our town council and our town as we are for the price of a pint of beer a week and end up with nothing. So I will not be supporting it. Thank you.
I have Councillor Neil Foster who wishes to speak.
Speaking specifically to the amendment, which is the part of the agenda we're on at the moment, it's interesting that Councillor Thompson, when he was speaking, spoke about the coalition and the wonderful, joyous benefits we've received from that coalition. One of the wonderful, joyous benefits we received from that coalition was millions and millions of pounds worth of cuts to Durham County Council, and indeed to local authorities across the North East. Hundreds of millions of pounds have been taken out of the local community funding and the payments that go towards the council. And that obviously has affected the things that we could provide and the services that the county could produce. I don't think this amendment takes us any further forward. In fact, I don't think the entire motion takes us any further forward, and I will be voting against.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. I have Councillor Ian or Councillor Judith Machin would like to speak.
Councillor Ian Machin, I'd just like to make the point in support of the first part of the motion from Councillor Ranyard. He mentioned some of the towns that are not parished and so don't pay a council tax. Just to list some of the things that Spennymoor benefits from, that Durham County pays for on behalf of other locations. And this is straight from the Durham County Council website. The benefits that Durham County Council said they bring around funding parks. We know that they fund allotments. They say they fund open spaces. And we know from all of the extensive work done by the facilities manager and his team on community centres, that Durham County Council run community centres because we use their report. So it's just to make it real, the areas that Durham County Council fund, but which Spennymoor Town Council pays for and gets no recompense back from Durham County Council for all the great work that they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Machin. I have Councillor Pete Malloy would like to speak. Councillor Pete Malloy, do you wish to speak?
He's just dropped out the meeting. Councillor Malloy seems to have dropped out of the meeting, so we're just going to give it a minute or two to see if he dials back in because he has requested to speak.
Doesn't appear that Councillor Malloy is in the meeting. So can I move to a vote on the amendment, please? Unless, are there any other people that wish to speak before we move on to that?
Chair, I'd just like to come back.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson, if you can speak.
Chair, I understand everything that Councillor Madison said and even what Councillor Foster said. We used to get a rebate for council for double taxation. a number of years ago, it was an annual event. And I support us getting that. I mean, I have looked at this on a number of occasions, and just about everything that Spennymoor Town Council does is a double taxation, and you can argue against having a town council. But we wouldn't have a fine town hall. We wouldn't have a park to the level that we've got. So I still believe in having town council. My amendment just takes the argument of double taxation a little bit further because of the fact that we are losing out money because of it. That's all I'd like to say, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. I have Councillor Dean Ranyard would like to speak on this.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I'm happy to support the amendment as put forward by Councillor Thompson. And I'd just like to reiterate the fact that I'm not, this motion is in no way designed to belittle or put down the role of town and parish councils. I think they've got a very important role to play, but it's about getting fairness. As Councillor Machin stated, Durham County Council are providing a whole host of services in other parts of the county that they're not providing here, yet the residents of our town are paying exactly the same amount to Durham County Council as those areas where Durham County Council are providing the services. And that's what it's about. It's about addressing the unfairness, the imbalance, and getting Durham County Council to look into it further to see what can be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ranyard. Councillor Pete Malloy hasn't come back into the meeting, so if we can move on, the amendment to the motion is now the motion itself. So can I ask that we take a vote on this item, please? Councillor Gemma Abley.
For this motion.
Councillor Neil Foster.
Against.
Councillor Ron Hiley.
For the motion.
Councillor Ian Machin.
For the motion.
Councillor Judith Machin.
For the motion.
Councillor Clyde Madison.
I'm against the motion at this point in time.
Councillor Billy McAloon. Councillor McAloon, can you take your audio off, please? Thank you.
I'm for the motion.
Councillor Pete Malloy hasn't come back into the meeting. Councillor Dean Ranyard.
For.
Councillor Kathy Thompson.
For.
Councillor Kevin Thompson.
For.
Councillor Lisa Thompson. She's dropped out. Councillor Lisa Thompson's popped out of the meeting. Councillor Elizabeth Wood.
For.
Thank you.
The motion is carried.
Thank you. Can I?
Yeah, the amendment is carried.
Yes, that became the substantive motion, the amendment plus the original motion, so it's carried.
Can I just make a comment with regard to this? I believe that the same motion has gone to a number of town and parish councils across the area. Councillor Foster, did you wish to speak?
Sorry, you're speaking, aren't you?
I'm speaking on this just to add a comment, Councillor Foster.
Well, if I did want to speak, I would say the motion's over, the discussion's over, and move on to the next item of business.
I think the point that I was going to make, Councillor Foster, was the fact that this motion has already gone to a number of other town and parish councils, and one of the councils has requested that the representation is made by CDALC, and I would like to ask this council whether or not that is a a method that they would like to adopt as well. Okay.
Just to clarify, as the motion's been passed, we will follow the motion. It will be the town council that will be contacting Durham County Council.
Thank you, Town Clerk. So if we can now move on to the Mayor's communications. And as it's already been mentioned, Councillor Elizabeth Wood resigned on the 28th of August. I did represent the Town Council as Deputy Mayor with the raising of the Merchant Navy flag. And I would just like to say I was quite proud to represent the Council in thanking the Merchant Navy for the work they did in the 2 World Wars and also the support that they gave to keeping our country supplied with food during those times. So thank you very much to the Merchant Navy for that. Thank you. Performance management, item 11. Does anybody wish to speak on that item? I have no indication.
Madam Mayor, I had requested to speak on the previous item, but I see that you've moved on now. So if I may speak, it's or if you've moved on, it's at your discretion, I guess.
On the Merchant Navy. Merchant, you wanted to speak on the Merchant Navy and you missed him.
Right, okay, so I apologise that we missed you on that one, Councillor Ranyard.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to say that I'm really pleased that the Town Council did that ceremony to recognise the Merchant Navy. Having sailed in the Merchant Navy myself, I was really disappointed that I wasn't able to attend the flag ceremony. But it really is appreciated that the Town Council did this. And I want to pay tribute to those who did serve in the Merchant Navy during the wars, who put their lives on the line. Many people lost their lives on merchant vessels in the war effort. And also to thank those who are serving in the Merchant Navy to this day, who keep us in supply of everything we need. And it's been particularly difficult for merchant sailors in this recent times, many of them who, due to COVID restrictions, etc., haven't been able to see their family and have been on board ship for extended periods of time. That was the comments I wanted to make. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ranyard. So if we can now move on to item 11, performance management.
Just ask them to move it.
Does anyone have any comments with regard to that? If I can just add my own comments with regard to that, and that is the item on the seats across the township. I note that the performance management did ask that we look at the boards on the seats. I would like to ask if the Town Council would also consider those seats that do need painting to have a look at that as well.
It's programmed into the programme of work, so it will get done.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments to make? I do say Councillor Pete Malloy is back in the meeting. And can we move on to the next item now, which is item 12. Now, this item was communicated by email to all members, and it is councillor dispensations under section 85 of the Local Government Act, and that is to give all members the dispensation up to the 6th of May 2021, and this covers the 6-month ruling for attendance at Town Council meetings. Because of the COVID situation, we have had some Town Councillors who haven't been able to attend any meetings, and this should cover all councillors of the Town Council. Thank you. Does anyone have any comments with regard to that?
Madam Mayor, if you oblige, I've made a request to speak. I've no difficulty with those people who have a problem with COVID not being able to attend. However, I think it's not a secret to anybody that the level of attendance of this town council during this cycle has been, from some members, somewhat disappointing. And while I fully understand that those people who have difficulty with COVID may well want to take advantage of it, there are a number of members whose attendance is less than what people would expect.
Thank you for the comments, Councillor Foster. I have Councillor Dean Ranyard would like to speak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I think it's a sensible thing to give dispensation owing to the current conditions of coronavirus, meaning that some members haven't been able to attend meetings and some are finding difficulties using virtual meetings. But can I just ask, has every effort been made to facilitate those members who haven't got facilities at home by allowing them to use facilities in the town hall, for example, to partake in these virtual meetings?
We'll bring the town clerk into this one. Thank you.
Yes, as you can see, Councillor McAloon is sat in an office in the town hall and has taken advantage of using one of the desktops in the majority group room. There's also a desktop in the minority group room, and there are a laptop that we can also set somebody up in a room on their own. We're currently looking at costings to offer members some type of hardware that they can use at home. And as soon as I have those costings, I'll bring a report to council. If you remember, some months ago, council did agree to give members telephones on which they could access their emails. Unfortunately, that would not cover the ability to use Zoom. So we're looking at telephones and we're looking at laptops at the moment, ones that will facilitate Zoom meetings. And as I say, as soon as I have those costings, I'll come back to council.
You're on mute, Liz.
Can't hear anybody.
Try again.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, the microphone was switched off. So I'll repeat what I said again. On the chat line, it did say that 2 members had had problems with laptop freezing and phone freezing. Unfortunately, this is one of the problems that we've got by the virtual methods that we have to use. But I do think these are issues we've got to try and overcome, but far better that we have council meetings and we can convey the message out to the community, what we are doing as a council. Thank you.
And can I just add that at the moment, we know there are 9 people watching the live stream on YouTube, so the public are tuning into these meetings.
I have a request from Councillor Kevin or Kathy Thompson. Can you take your microphone off, Councillor Thompson?
I think the town council's come a long way in the last few months from the first tentative steps of trying to do it. I think we hold very successful meetings now. And once the people get the hardware so that everyone can take part, I think we'll all benefit from that. I think the staff have done a good job with the way they've set all this up. And I just hope we carry on progressing. If we're going to be like this for 6 months, we need to get everyone happy and on board and being able to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. I have no other requests to speak. Does anybody wish to speak? And I'm getting no messages that anyone else wishes to speak. And that concludes the meeting for today. Thank you for your attendance.